So welcome back to Decoy Noise and another episode of Am I the Antagonist with Am I the Antagonist for refusing to pay my daughter's sorority dues? So if you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below, letting me know what subscriber number you are because it helps me kind of track my growth, especially when I'm in what I'm calling furloughed Decoy Noise, where I'm dropping 2 videos a day, 10 a.m. and then 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, because I'm just kind of hanging out, putting tattoos everywhere, putting them on my neck, whatever my subscribers are asking me to do it. I'm just kind of hanging out and killing the time, helping you guys kill some time too. But let's just get to this video right now because OP is saying, so my daughter is in a sorority, which I 100% supported. My wife and I paid for her dues and supported her when she had asked if we would be okay with it. Unfortunately, last week I found out something very upsetting. My daughter was trying to enroll in classes, but had holds on her account which prevented her from doing so. She called the university to get everything sorted out. When I asked her what happened, she told me her sorority was in hot water for underage drinking, and they all had to take an online course about alcohol and student conduct on campus. When I asked her why she didn't tell me this before, she told me she was too embarrassed to. I don't know why, call it intuition I guess, but I didn't believe her. I decided I would do some research on my own and stumbled across the article written by her school's newspaper about a Halloween party thrown by her sorority and their brother frat. Since this isn't a debate sub, I don't want to say the exact details, but I will say the theming of the party was very offensive. In the article were screenshots of an Instagram post from the party, and there I saw it, a picture of my daughter in a racially insensitive costume. When I confronted her about it, she immediately became frustrated and told me it wasn't that big of a deal, and she didn't want to tell me because she knew I'd blow it out of proportion. I decided to leave the room and go talk to my wife about the situation before I said something I'd regret, and my wife and I both decided that we will no longer pay for her sorority dues. Both my wife and I support racial equality and have always taught those morals to our daughter. To see her disregard them was very upsetting, and we decided that we would not support our daughter in an environment which undermined those views. When we told her this was when we told her this, she completely blew up, saying that we promised to pay for it, etc., etc. She also called us financially abusive, as we both knew we would not be able to pay the dues herself, and finding a job is nearly impossible. She said one last payment due this semester, and she doesn't have the money to pay for it. She talked to her sisters, and they told her they would be willing to give her an extension until the fall semester, but she is unsure she will have the money by then. Our daughter is very upset with us and thinks we're overreacting. She's been crying for a week, and I have to wonder, am I the antagonist for refusing to pay? Was our punishment too harsh? So before I get into the edited portion of this or whatever, the one thing that I wanted to point out is she said, hey, can I be in the sorority? Will you pay the dues? And they said, yes, we 100% support it. And then when they said, hey, how come you guys, what's going on with the money over here? She lied to them. So I feel like that's kind of like, obviously the parents and the kid don't have a contract, but that's a breach of contract right there. Once you say like, hey, I said I'd pay your sorority dues. I'm not paying because you guys had all these issues with the whole like racially insensitive party or whatever. So it's like, if it's school dues or whatever, cool, whatever, like they have to pay no matter what. But if it just means that she's going to get kicked out of the sorority, yes, it's going to be harsh for the daughter, where those are all her friends. That's her entire social circle. And it's going to be hard because I do know that, sororities and frats are notoriously known for just like parties and stuff, but they do help you get jobs after college. And they do give you like long lasting friendships in a lot of situations. So it's like, it would suck for her to get knocked out of that social situation, but it is a responsibility of the parent to say, hey, look, these are my values. I need to stand behind them. So you know what? If that's what this group is going to do, and that's what this group's going to change my daughter into, they have a moral obligation to not pay those dues. They have a moral obligation to tell the daughter, we don't want you hanging out with those people. So as much as she's going to hate it, I think that's good that they're not the antagonist for sticking to the guns. They have to kind of like say, hey, we don't want you doing this anymore. And I do think if the daughter really wants to be a part of this group, maybe she gets a summer job. If she really wants to stand by whatever the heck that party was, she's got to do it on her own 2 feet. She can't force her dad to help turn her kid into whatever that party was. We're not trying to dig too much into that, but I mean, Decoy Court says not the antagonist, not guilty because of the situations or whatever. But let's get to the rest of the edit right now because maybe there's extra stuff to think. Since everyone's asking, I guess I should state what the costume theming was. The theme was pimps and hoes, and those parties never go well. And my daughter got box braids as well as extremely deep tan. She's extremely pale and uses the spray tans. I've never seen this dark before. I think going from this to this, so I'm guessing she just totally went blackface at this point in time. To me, this obviously was emulating and making fun of black people, which is extremely gross. I raised her better than that, and I don't know why she thought it would be okay. And the thing is, though, is it's hard to say, but in a vacuum, I don't think that she's ever, like, if she's not at a pimps and hoes party, she's probably never going to do that. Just, hey, I'm gonna go to the mall here, let me get that crazy tan and box braids or whatever. So it's entirely on the sorority's fault and her, because, like, well, sorority's fault for throwing the party and her for having like a huge lapse in judgment. I do get in college, like, you know, you don't want to throw the book at her and say we can never love you anymore or whatever, because kids make mistakes, whatever, lesson learned or whatever. But this is one of those things where it's like the father has to stand by his moral standards. So good on him for having standards. Obviously she's gonna lash out on him, but that's why it's called parenting and not friendship. Like, you gotta be the bad guy. So like I say, pause the video, drop your comments down below as to what your knee-jerk reactions are, and if you think I'm wrong, you think OP's wrong or whatever, before we see some top comments and the more fun controversial comments. But let's look to see what they're saying. Top comment: not the antagonist at all. What she did was disgusting, and she lied to your face about it. Yeah, see, that was probably the breach of their deal. Next reply: yeah, not the antagonist, but man, you canceled your own daughter, and I love it. Here's the thing: is I hate the whole cancel culture thing and the whole like politically correct thing. Like, yes, don't be offensive. We should all be nice to each other, especially in the climate right now. But the whole thing where you don't want to be like cancel culture, like, oh my god, did you hear what Decoy said in that other video I dug up? Let's throw that out of context and cancel him or whatever. Like, I'm not a fan of that, but just the idea that it's like, hey, like, you did this thing, I'm canceling your fun right now. That's kind of funny. Next reply: I love that he chose to show pictures of her transforming from Emma Stone to JC. If anything gets more offensive than what she did. But okay, let's go. Let's go. So someone says, replying, says, sorry, have to hijack this comment to make sure OP saw it. Not the antagonist. You're a great parent. As a black college student, I would have been so hurt and disgusted to see a sorority and fraternity doing any of the above things. It's racist and extremely offensive. My culture and features are not something you can use as a costume or accessory. Thank you for taking this seriously. She needs to understand the problem and consequences of her actions. These actions can and will affect her future employment. That is true. So let's look at, yeah, we still got time to do some more of these top comments. So, not the antagonist at all. I don't think you're overreacting. If she's an adult, she wants to do these racist things, then she must be prepared to stand by her offensive opinions and enjoy the consequences of losing friends amongst decent people. She has several months to make things better for herself before she has to leave the sorority. Maybe she could use that time to become a better person. True. She's a part of that sorority. That ain't happening. Yeah, likely. And they're replying, nah, man, too broad of a generalization. I was in a sorority and a pretty damn cool person, and this crap racially insensitive parties would have never flown in my group. Yeah, there's different Greek societies so wide. There's like Christian jazz frats, and then there's just like party rave frats. Like, don't generalize sororities and frats into just one thing. But next reply: not the antagonist. If she wants to join a racist club, she can figure out a way to get a job. She knew she was in the wrong. That's why she was so hesitant to tell the truth about why her sorority was in trouble. Her brushing off her actions is what makes it worse. So this is very true. So I feel like everybody's gonna pile on in the same direction because, like, yeah, he's not the antagonist. But let's look at some controversial replies, because I do believe there are going to be people calling him out because he agreed to pay for the sorority, and now he's like going back on her words, and like, I could see that being an issue. But let's go ahead and look at this top controversial comment. Not the antagonist. Want to know what I got from my dad? A name, some broken bones, and a seriously effed up sense of self-worth. Tell your daughter she's lucky you can afford her college, much less that you're paying for it in the first place. I really have no reply to that, because it could be true. It's like, you know, be grateful for what it is. I think we go back to that one post where we saw the stepdaughter and son getting a car, and the stepdaughter started complaining because her car wasn't nice as the son's. Like, you probably link that in the video or whatever. But just the idea that it's like, yeah, everybody's complaining that she got a less nice car, but it's like, everybody's just counting the fact that she got a car in the first place. And it's like one of those things where, you know, the daughter could be getting super upset right now, but it's like, don't discount the fact that the mother and father are paying for the sorority and the college in the first place. So they really don't have a leg to stand on. They're already kind of ahead of the curve. But let's look at the next controversial reply. Not the antagonist. That's like asking your parents to pay for your KKK robe and being upset when they won't. An external example maybe, but also maybe not. She didn't tell you she knows you raised her better than that. She will be lucky if that doesn't cost her jobs in the future. And the one thing I'll say is like this is an unfair analogy or whatever. That they're not like a racist group that's out there like marching against people. They're just like a party group that just has extremely poor foresight, and they have like low they're not very racially sensitive at all. So I mean, yeah, they're racially insensitive. So it's like sorority, racist extremist group. They're a little bit different. So I wouldn't go that far, but just the idea that it's like, yeah, not the antagonist, but yeah, I think that's a bit of a stretch comparing that to that. I can't click this link. I don't know why. Next reply, not the antagonist. Wow, it really doesn't want to let me click that one. There you go. Yeah, if the crux of your argument hinges on the blackface, you might want to start with she was wearing blackface. Racially insensitive themed party means nothing, and pimps and hoes by itself is only racist if you're a racist. That automatically assumes pimps and hoes are specifically about one race. Blackface is kind of a big deal. I feel like this has, what? So he didn't initially made himself clear, now he's making himself clear, and they're complaining about that? Like, okay, I can kind of see why they didn't like that. So, I mean, yeah, it's kind of like walking in circles right now. So if you haven't already, go ahead and check out decoynoise.com. We got a lot of the same videos over there, but I'm also opening up the koi section, which is just basically a sushi menu. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to flesh out all the people that are like very high contributors to the comment section and try to, like, you know, call out their subscriber number and maybe some other information on here. Just try to make this more of a fun website to go to, maybe have some polls on here or whatever it may be. But if you haven't already, please consider subscribing down below, checking out that video over there, but also letting me know what else I should do. More tattoos, more am I the antagonist? I don't know. Like, I'm kind of in this one mode right now, but I'm open to any and all things, or the 2 videos a day and essentially unlimited free time. So let me know down below what you think.